Okay, so we are going to do some debugging today. I've got Visual Studio Code, which I'm having a bit of success with, like not heaps, but it's been okay. I just need to change this title. Although actually I probably don't need to. Alright, let's just leave it like that. That'll be fine. Better to not have to fiddle around with that. So, where we left off last time, let me just build with make. And I'm presuming that's worked. And then we go to launch. And yeah, so we've got our game here. We've got our character that's actually animating perfectly, which is really nice. If I enter edit mode, I've got this back, our tile selection. I can select the tile, but we don't have the ghosted selection like we did before. And also something has happened with the animations. The animations aren't playing, and I think it's because the character is not entering a different phase based on its movement, which we should be able to correct, so that he turns left. Actually, he's not turning left or right like he was before, so we've also got that issue. And then if I was to go back to the edit mode, I'm not seeing the ghosted selection of the tile, which suggests to me that perhaps the draw isn't working correctly somewhere. And I certainly don't see the tile when I click. I would expect to see the tile getting painted onto the grid, which it isn't. So a couple of things to look at today. Hopefully we can get through them all, but we'll see how we go. First things first is the ghosted selection of the tile. I think I want to get that working. So escape quits out. Also, it looks like we're leaking memory somewhere, which I'm not going to worry about until I've got the game back to the state that we were in beforehand, where there's no bugs. Again, I apologize when I fumble around in Visual Studio Code. It's not something I use every day. I really don't mind the debugger. I think it's much easier than using GDB, so I'm going to persist with it, but I might fumble for certain things. So apologies there. I'm just gonna... Alright, so we've got a clean working state. That's good. Alright, so let's go to our view class, and I think it'll be house scene entity view. Actually, this is what renders the entities, so we probably won't start with that. Tile background view and tile palette view will be the first places to start. At some point, I'll be looking for something that's reducing the opacity. So this seems to be this is rendering the tile palette on the left hand side, so we're not too interested in this for now. Selected tile view, this is probably what we want. Okay, so this has compile issues, but selected tile view H, is this in our CMake? Okay, so this isn't even... sure, install that. Oh, it's got a CMake plugin. That's nice. Would you like to configure project X? Not now, because I've already done that. Okay. Sure. Don't know what this is. Okay, well. Alright, well that's done something that I don't know. Has it given me any more of these? No. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. I've got syntax highlighting, I suppose. Alright, so straight away I can see a problem, which is that we're not even compiling in the it wasn't this one. Which one was it? I think it was select. Yeah, so straight away we're not even compiling this in, and our CMake project doesn't even know about it. So selected tile view, let's get this in and debugged. So we'll have selected CLEC selected tile view, and then same here, selected tile view, and then presumably house scene is not even trying to use it, so we'll have a look and try and figure out why it's not. Actually can't see where we've even tried to include it. Okay. So if I do a split like that and then look at selected tile view here. Okay, it seems to be inheriting correctly. That's what I would expect it to do. Alright, so that's good. This should be house scene state. And then here, this is state.editor state. So if the editor is not enabled, return, yep. And then editor state state.editor state.tile palette view. So this will be house scene state. This so yeah, this will be different. So this will be a selected tile sprite. What's going on? It doesn't seem to be state dot tile palette tiles. I think this has become now, and then this will be state dot editor state dot tile palette selected tile index, like that. Okay, so back to this problem. Where we have our tile yeah, well, we're actually moving the tile sprite. So one way we can get around this problem is I think if I do that, that's the copy constructor, which is fairly cheap. And then It'll be so we could use the copy I think that's using the copy constructor. If I remove this, I think it's because this is now I think view is not a template because we don't pound include view.h. Now I think view is gonna complain at me that draw isn't const. Yeah, I have a feeling that this method needs to be a const here, needs to have a const here. And if it does, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm wondering if it's better to do this anyway. And just copy the sprite. It looks like, I think, just judging from this here, it looks like the authors of SFML are allowing the compiler to provide the default copy constructor, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm just a little bit. Don't know if it's a bad idea to do that. Yeah, might not be totally efficient, but then I don't want to get too wrapped up in efficiency. We might not need to create a new sprite each time. This could be overkill. I'm just gonna leave it in there like that for now, because I think if I mark this as const here, and I say const here, like that should be fine, but I have a feeling that if I do this, this will start complaining at me. Although const means it doesn't modify any of its own members. You might need to use a copy constructor here. Okay, so current mouse grid position. Don't know if this should be here. So this will be editor data select tile rotation. Current mouse grid position is interesting now. Because I won't have So I kind of feel like this needs to be in the editor controller. So this sets the yeah, I should be setting it here somewhere. Key pressed. Mouse wheel. Mouse button pressed. Key pressed. Mouse button pressed. Stop panning. Okay, that's another thing that's not quite right, is panning. I don't know if reducer.getState. Edit state dot editor enabled, and so if the editor is enabled, but I kind of feel like this should be in update. This probably should be an update. Let's just create it, and then we can always move it. So so if the editor is enabled, we want to run event with mouse, window mouse position. That's so this would just be updating the state, I suppose. Window mouse position. Well, it wouldn't be this, so it'll just be reducer dot set current set mouse position. And then I guess you'd have yeah. And then yeah, you'd have just, I guess you'd just have like auto current mouse grid position. State dot editor state dot well, you'd probably want the exact position. Yeah, state dot editor state dot so in this case it'll be like current mouse, current editor square. Selected editor square, I guess. Yeah, so I guess we just have like selected editor square, and then yeah, set update selected. And then this would accept window mouse position, I suppose. And then it'd be responsible for, and then that'd be 2i selected square like that. And then in the reducer itself, selected it. Like that. And then that'll be in house scene reducer. So let's just write the implementation for this really quickly. Void house and vector to I updated mouse position. I think there'll be some extra, yeah, I don't think this will necessarily be correct, but I think for now it should be interstate. This one, I think that, yeah, I think we'll need to equals. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. It won't be taking into account other factors that need to be added into this calculation, but for now it'll kind of prove the end-to-end sort of thing. So we'll just go through and do that. All looks pretty good. So let's build with make. Actually, the other, we haven't added that view in, which is another thing we'll have to do. Edit to control, line 28 has no, line 28. Okay, let's try that. Now, even if this does compile, there's still an extra step where we have to add the selected tile view to the map view layer, which we haven't done. Okay, so selected tile view has compiled, that's good. But we need to add it to the view layer, which it hasn't had. So it'll be house map view layer, and then here, and then it'll be selected selected tile view, and then down here, where did I, controllers, oh yeah, so here, select a tile view, and then select a tile view like and then we only have not the unique pointer. And then this grabs sprite size, so that'll be the sprite size of the tile map. Yep. All right, let's try that. Okay, and then we'll launch. There's got to be an easier way to do it than this. All right, so E for editor and nothing. Okay, so yeah, okay, so we're not seeing the tile get drawn at all. So at this point, my question is, do we have, if we go here, do we have the logic here, right? Yes, we do. Okay, so that's good. Current mouse grid position, that's off the screen. Sprite size 64, half tile size, that works. So that does the offset, that looks fine. The rotation. Okay, the rotation is really weird. Okay, so that doesn't look right at all there. Expect that to be 0. Current mouse grid position looks kind of junky as well, although grid mouse positions are a little difficult to that looks right. That's getting updated. Half tile size is not set yet, so that's fine. Half tile size is 32. Sprite size looks 64. Okay, so this rotation definitely is the weirdest value here. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the selected tile index looks correct. Palette tiles, I mean, it looks just about right. Yeah, this rotate looks really suspicious, although I'd expect to still be able to see the tile. I just expect to see it like rotated at a really weird value. Oh, that's panning, which we'll have to work on in a second. Resume. But unfortunately, we're not seeing. Actually, maybe it could be the fact that those mouse, yeah, we definitely knew that the mouse values were not correct. So let's just go to the close others. So yeah, I just want to have another look at this again. So the set position, select a tile sprite. Where's the The other thing is, I wonder if it's not... I wonder if it's because it's already getting drawn somewhere else, if that's a specific issue. I don't know. Time sprite size. Okay, let's just... Actually, time sprite size, that's... that doesn't look... Yeah. Okay, so that's definitely wrong. Because... Yeah, alright, so that's supposed to be the current mouse grid position, which... it certainly isn't. Okay, so yeah, what's happening is it's getting drawn way off the screen. Because that's getting multiplied by the sprite size, and yeah, that's just crazy. So yeah, it's getting drawn at like on a pixel. I think I've got it set to 1,000 by 1,000 pixels. The window. It's getting drawn at like 30,000 or something like that. So that's our problem there. So it's this current mouse grid position. This actually needs to be adjusted for. Yeah, this needs to be adjusted to take into account the fact that it's actually pointing to a square of the grid rather than the grid itself. So, editor controller. Now the eternal question is, will I have access to the data that I need, or will I need to like pass it in again and change my contracts, which has really kind of been a disadvantage to this approach that I'm currently implementing. Is wherever I am, I seem to need data from somewhere else, which can suggest that you haven't got your abstractions right. Anyway, let's not worry about that too much now. Tile map, sprite size. Okay, so we should have that. All right, so then window mouse position. But interestingly, this doesn't take into account the offset of the view. All right, let's just backtrack and look at how I had this implemented in the existing project, because I can't quite put my finger on how I was doing it previously. Was I doing it in here? Draw, set view. Selection rectangle, tile palette view, draw the background, write the icons. No, I wasn't doing it here. Where was I doing it? House scene. It was never that clear. Here we go, draw selected tile. Alright, so this is the logic that I've extracted out into the view. Current mouse grid position. Is that pretty much what we have? Sprite size. Okay, so it's current mouse grid position, so how have we arrived at that is the big question now. Where are we getting that from? Current mouse grid position. Okay. Current, yeah, okay. Now I thought I map pixel took awards. Aha, here we go. Okay, so this is this bit of code here that we're currently interested in. All right, let's grab this here and then move it down to here because this is okay, so this is good. So let's reintroduce this code and figure out why it's going to complain at us. Because it's actually current. This should be current mouse grid position, like that. Okay, so tile map get sprite size. That'll be tile map sprite size, so we can fix that. Tile map sprite size. Same here. Tile map sprite size. Floor is a math function that comes from math.h. So we can fix that. Some plugin bug, I think. Current mouse grid position doesn't exist, so I guess we can just do it in line here. This to-do goes, we grab all of this, put it into here. If editor is enabled, and then we can change this to be, let's just do it all in line. And then this is, I don't know what's going on with VS Code's tabbing. The tabbing is so weird in here. Vector 2i. Oh, these float. I have a feeling that is there like a tab spaces for? Yeah, that's fine. That's what, okay. That's what I would expect it to be. Get rid of those. Do that. Alright, so I can't, I'm guessing I just can't do that, can I? Oh, I can. Okay. Do I have, I totally do. Am I doing the exact event with mouse? I'm doing the exact same thing down here as well. But I'm relying on the click there. Okay, yeah. This is a bit of SFML. Something I don't understand quite yet with SFML is when you do the event mouse button versus just the mouse coordinates. Anyway, I would have thought that would have to take into account the offset. Oh, no, but that's what that does. Okay, all right, let's try this. Build. Okay, everything compiled. GDB launch. All right, so E, breakpoint hit. Okay, cool. So that is that rotation junk data that I was talking about before. So let's just clean that up really quickly. I suppose I'm not really sure. Like, I probably should be initializing all of these. I don't know. I've just been kind of initializing when I need them, but maybe there's a... Probably should be defining all of... Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I probably should be defining more defaults here. Or... Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Okay. Let's see if this fixes up that issue. E for editor. All right, so the offset. Okay, the offset is now. Yeah. Okay. The offset is not getting taken into account, whereas I thought we were doing that. All right. Well, that's kind of all right. Like, the mouse position is not quite right, and the offset is not quite right either, but at least we've got it drawing, I suppose. So it's kind of annoying that that offset hasn't worked. So current. So if I don't, all right, let's just go back to this view here. So if I don't set so the origin has to be set to the middle. Because if I don't set that there, okay, that hasn't made a difference at all. Which suggests to me that this I don't know if this will necessarily make a difference either. Huh. All right, so don't construct a random new object randomly. So that's adding the half tile size. Let's just reset this to 0, see what happens.
I'm finding one.
You right?
Oh yeah, so shorts are down there. I need to buy some more.
Half tile size. So just reset that to 0. Yeah, okay, so it's definitely, okay, so it's definitely looks like a problem with the origin actually. let's not set origin there. Sprite size divided by 2. And that gets passed in. Yeah, that looks right. If we don't set origin here, back to this. Sprite sizes. Sprite size. And then it's even more pronounced there. It's like a whole extra sprite. Sprite size is 64. Just have a look what I had over here. Tile map get sprite size. I'm calling the exact plus half. Oh no, that's right, because I'm dividing half sprite size, half tile size divided by 2. Tile map get size. Not sprite size, it's tile map size. Okay, what's the difference between, yeah, okay. So this will be sprite sheet, get size. Sprite sheet get size. Right, size is a difference. Yeah, that's before sprite size. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so let's, rather than sprite sheet tile map sprite sheet and then const, I'll never modify this. Alright, stop that. Selected tile view, selected tile view. const sprite sheet, sprite sheet, sprite sheet, const. All right, so then here, house scene, get size, draw select. Yeah, here we go. So set origin should use sprite sheet dot get size, and then half, that should be sprite sheet dot get sprite size, and then same here, sprite sheet dot get sprite size, and then same here, sprite sheet get sprite size, like that. Like that. And then the other problem that we'll have is house scene view, house scene. This will be complaining at me here. Okay, let's build this. Okay, E for editor, and that lines up perfectly, and then I rotate, and then that works beautifully. Okay, fantastic. First bug of the day fixed. So that's exactly what I wanted happening. It's under the mouse position. It's basically working perfectly. Excellent. All right, so let's commit that. Git add all, git commit, ghost selection working again. All right, so the next thing, push origin. I'll just push to my remote, which is GitHub. Can I go to the live stream? Okay, cool. So that's all that done, which is really nice. House scene draw. Okay. All right, so the next thing I want to get working is the tiles drawing onto the actual map. So when I click the tile here, I would expect to see it appear in its non-ghosted version, which it doesn't. So there'll be a view that I need to add. It'll be one of these views. I can't remember which. Scene view, tile background view, and house scene entity view. Okay, so this was a problem when I first started the refactor a little while ago that I just haven't fixed yet. Essentially, I had ambiguity between these two views, house scene entity view and tile background view. I don't know which one I should be using, but I have a feeling they should be. This one is drawing the tiles. And it seems to be in fairly good shape. And This one, I think, is drawing the entities. All right, let's get the tile background view working first. That'll be to the house map view layer, tile background view, tile background view, and this expects the tile map. That seems fairly reasonable. Well, that was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. Wouldn't it be nice if this just worked? Okay, so all right, so that's not working. So there's two things. Potentially this isn't drawing correctly. The other thing is that it's not getting any tiles in the tile layer. Like it's not reading the state, like the state's not getting updated properly. So let's determine that right now. Let's stick a breakpoint in there. All right, so state tile layers. Let's have a look at that. State.tile layers. Oh, just hold on 1 second, guys. Okay, so we need to figure out if the tile layer has tiles on it. And by the looks of things, it has a lot of tiles. Huh. Okay, so this tile layer looks like junk data potentially. Let's just... Yeah, interesting. It's not... Or... Yeah, so I've got a breakpoint here. If I click here, that breakpoint isn't getting triggered, which suggests to me that the event to add the tile to the state is not working correctly. So that'll be in editor controller here. I've got to look for the click event or button event. Manage. Okay, so this manages selection changed. That's the mouse wheel moved. This is what we've just done, updating the mouse position. Okay, so this is what, okay, so this is where the tile event gets handled. So just clicked on here. All right, so let's just traverse through this method. Event target coords seems reasonable for now. Pixel bounds. All right, so is this if statement getting triggered properly? It is. Okay, so we come into here. Selected tile. Does not look like it's getting... Selected tile is a palette tile. And then, okay, so that is getting, so that's calling the reducer. X and Y, X is 1, Y is 1. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so this code looks like it's doing what I would expect it to do. It calls add tile. Okay. We then come into here, so, yep, all right, X, Y, yep, that looks correct. We instantiate a map tile. So let's have a look at the tile here. X, Y rotation, tile map index. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the tile looks like it's getting instantiated correctly. That looks good to me. State tile layers. Okay, so tile layers is empty. We push back a tile layer. Okay, and then state tile layers. I think this, whoops. think this might be causing a copy, maybe. Let's do that. Yeah, that was a bit weird, pulling state like that. I think this is like one of the first reducer methods I wrote, so. Okay, so that looks fine. That looks fine for now. Okay, we're in the loop. All right, so that's a really good sign. So go back here and beautiful. Excellent. So it was just that shadowing of state. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so let's try and write. Yep. All right, perfect. All right, so that's working now. Okay, the direction, that's why the animations aren't playing, is because I can't move the character, right? So that's another thing. The other thing that's not working is panning. So let's look at the panning issue first. I'll just commit that. I'll just commit those change get status. Commit. Fixed reducer event. All right, that wasn't too bad. Git push origin unidirectional. All right, so yeah, the panning thing I had a crack at the other day, just quickly. From what I could tell, it seemed to be setting the state correctly, so there might be some sort of controller issue. So let's, whoops. Okay, so reduces set panning, false and true. So these two are definitely getting hit. That looks right. So where do I... Okay, so here is, are we hitting here? Let's find out. Okay, so straight away, I don't feel like we should be hitting there. In fact, let's set this to false. Yeah, that should be false straight away. Every time we change this, we have to recompile all of this other stuff. All right, so that's exactly what I expect to happen. Okay, so is this working now? No. Yeah, okay. All right, so now I suspect we're doing that in two places. Okay. Okay. Mouse delta. Current mouse position. Is this not getting set properly. Yeah, okay, so this looks a bit sus. Wonder what this mouse delta value gets set to. Zero, zero, yeah. Current mouse position. 0, 0. Okay, that's no good. All right, so everything's 0, 0, basically. Okay, so the delta, from what I can tell, is not getting computed properly. Current mouse position, where's that coming from? Where is that coming from? That doesn't look like it's coming from anywhere. Okay, so that doesn't look right. Oh no, wait, it will be set in the controller. So the editor controller will have, okay. But nothing is setting the current mouse position. Okay, so what mouse position did this expect beforehand? I'll go back to the existing implementation. I think it's here. Panning. Current mouse position. Okay, where does it get set? That's coming from, yeah, okay, so then this just should change to this. Yeah, so editor controller, this should not be a thing anymore. And then this should be event with mouse. This one, yep. Event with mouse, that one, yep. Okay, yeah, it looked like we were potentially using the wrong position. Let's see if that was the case. All right, launch. Okay, beautiful, and that's all panning. Okay, beautiful. All right, that's all panning perfectly. Perfect. Okay, that's another bug done. Getting some bugs fixed today. Panning bug fixed. Okay, so that's that. Let's now fix the player movement issue because that's kind of annoying. That's the next most annoying thing, is that player movement issue. So from what I can tell, let me just run this again. If I put in some background and then I try left, right, up, down, it kind of moves, but then it doesn't move. I don't know why. So looks like whatever that controller input is getting, it's the player's just kind of sitting there. It's not moving the player. So that would be a player controller, an issue with this. So current input. Yeah, so current input is a local value, and then new velocity gets calculated, and then we grab the current player and set the transform. So there's a number of things that could actually go wrong here. Let's just make sure that this is getting hit. Okay, so I've just pressed left on my keyboard and the event's definitely gotten hit. Step over current input. Okay, so that looks okay, whatever. Oh, excuse me. That looks correct. So I'm going to assume the rest of them are correct as well for now. The next problem comes from here, where we might not be getting a found player, or actually we might not be coming through to here. We are, that's good. Okay, so okay, so now this entity looks weird. There looks some weird looking data in here. That looks weird. That looks really weird. What do I initially scene when I instantiate the player? Let's see. So the first type speed acceleration of the two speed accelerate. Okay, so I've got weird values in here. All right, so okay, yeah. All right, so that's probably floating point in precision, which I'm fine with. Well, I mean, I'm not fine with floating point in precision, but it shouldn't really be affecting what I'm doing. Like, I mean, that's the value that I would expect to be set there right now. Cool stack. All right, so let's just step through this. Found player set transform. All right, so how do I get to that debugging console? This doesn't look quite right here, the way we're... player. Why can't I inspect this? Like, why can't I open this up and look at it? I just want to, like, explore this value, but I can't. Transform. So that's 0, 0 there. Let's put the breakpoint there. Okay, so that's... Looks like it has updated that transform. I'm presuming new velocity here is... Oh no. Transform, yeah, that looks right. So why? So when we set the transform, huh. So I move to the right. So everything kind of shifts and then goes back. So it's like it applies that transform for a bit, and then when I let go, it stops. It doesn't update the transform. Zero, zero. Found player. So the transform stays at 0, 0 here. Oh, this is going to be a painful because I'm going to need to... Zero, zero. So it will do, it will get the transform, add it to the velocity and set the transform. And the new velocity will be based on that, multiplied by a speed of 500. minus the existing velocity multiplied by the acceleration. Speed 500. Yeah, it seems as though that transform is never gets updated properly. Yeah. It's not continuously getting updated. Oh, in fact, I think if I was to do this here, I think it would always be 0. I think it would always be 0. Yeah, it's always 0. Yeah, okay. So when we call set transform here, that doesn't actually update what I need it to update. So std find if, does that work how I expect it to? Or does this method even make sense the way it is? Set player trans. Should we be doing it like this? And if we have another method in the reducer, void, why don't we do the and then I guess let's just cheat for now, and then update the we'll only ever have one entity. So this will only ever have one entity. And yeah. Launch. There we go. Okay. Cool. All right, our animations aren't working. Yeah, all right, so don't know how. Yeah, interesting. So that doesn't set the transform back. So I guess we can just leave it like that for now. Do you know what? I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. If we can make it more generic later, let's make it more generic later. Who cares? It'll work. So I suppose the other thing. All right, so that, well, I mean, that's the that's the player movement problem sort of sorted. It could, the solution could be better, but we at least know what we're doing. The movement feels fine. That layering is wrong, but that is not going to be hard to fix. Let's just fix that quickly now while we can. And then we'll just clean it up later. Like it's not an elegant solution at all, but it will work for now, until we need to figure out the additional entities. We can just run with scissors and assume that the player entity will be always the first one, which for now, given that that's hard coded, is probably not a bad assumption, but it will make things brittle in the future. All right, now the view, tile palette view, so entity view should be the last one, and then that, I'm just going to assume that that's going to go in the right order now. I'll just make that. Okay, and then launch. All right, yeah, okay, so the player is now on top of the map, which is where I wanted them. All right, cool. The other thing I don't want is all of that debugging information spewing out like that. So let's remove this line. All right, so that's that for now. The other problem is animation, which is something I think handled by the view, I guess. Entity view. Yeah, so we most likely won't be finding the correct. Yeah, this is the problem here. Maybe we need to add like some sort of unique identifier to each entity. Yeah, anyway, I don't need to solve that problem today, but I will need to solve it at some point. All right, so found player get entity state. Okay, so is this entity state always state equals entity state walking? All right, so let's just see if this is getting. So actually, well, I suspect that this isn't getting triggered here, which is coming off velocity, which looks to not, Yeah, okay, so the entity itself will have a velocity, which is not getting set back here, I'm guessing. Yeah. Yeah, before I go and fix the problem, let me just actually verify that that's what's happening. Entity, I think it will be because this is never getting triggered here. Let me just confirm that that's what's happening. I never update the velocity. I don't need to rebuild. Why am I rebuilding? Yeah, I never update the velocity, so I would expect when I start walking around, that breakpoint won't trigger. We've still got to fix up that. Yeah, that breakpoint isn't triggering, so the state never gets updated. So the velocity is always 0. Yeah, okay, so let's go back here and then let's set player VELOCRTY. This probably will be, rather than set player, this will probably be like set entity, but then we won't necessarily know set entity transform, set entity velocity. Yeah, we won't necessarily know. Like, we'll just have to assume that it's the first entity for now, which is fine. Like I was saying, reduce. So that'll be set, and then we'll need some way of like picking out the right entity. So entity VELOCITY, new VELOCITY velocity. I think that's correct. Is it? Got it right here. VELOCITY, VELOCITY. Yep, that's correct. Set transform. So this will be set velocity. Set velocity, new velocity. Okay, in the reducer, passing reducer, set entity. Okay, I have a set velocity for entities, that's fortunate. Let's try that. Cool, so that's walk. All right, awesome. So he's walking as I would expect him to. He's walking past those. And he's also turning. There's a little, not quite sure what's happening there. Probably a little imprecision when I go. He sort of shakes, but that's okay. Left, right, down. Playing the right animations. He shakes a little bit there. That's annoying, but when I change direction, anyway, I'm not too worried about that right now. But that's the player working again. We'll have to disable those keys when we're in edit mode. We can do that. Or leave them on, feature. Cool. All right, so that's the animations playing. That's actually really good. Where's the terminal? New terminal. All right. Okay, so git add all git commit updated fixed animations playing while player is walking. All right. So I guess the big thing now is just the map, saving and loading the map. This one, actually no, before I do that, I don't think the entities will be getting drawn properly. Let's just verify that that's happening. Yeah, so we've got these two entity placeholders. If I go down to the bottom here, these two, and yeah, they're not getting drawn. So let's get these entities drawn. That'll be in house scene, house scene, and it's one of these commented out. Tile background view. Why did I add tile palette view? Oh, tile background view. We have that. We have that. House scene entity view. Okay. Have that. Alright, so entity view and house scene entity view. Alright, can we okay, so this is what I was talking. I think we probably want to be able to combine these two views. It doesn't make sense having them separate, really. If they're both called entity view, at least I'll be back. Okay, refreshments. All right, so yeah, I'm wondering if these two entity views actually need to be separate and they can't just be one tile palette view. this one up here so it's get rid of that comment for now. Everything seems to be working how I expect it to, so let's just leave it like that. Alright, so entity view is essentially the player view. House scene entity view is essentially the all of the other entities. So yeah, I'm wondering if I can just transplant this house scene entity view. Yeah, I should be able to combine these two into one entity view. I don't even need this. Draw. Target. Okay, let's try. I think that's actually it. And then I can get rid of a whole class that's superfluous. So tile map. This is actually sprite sheet. Oh, wait a minute. No. There's an entity sprite. This will be the entity sprite sheet, not the tile map. Yeah, okay, so alright, so this should be the tile map sprite sheet, and then we need another one for like the entity sprite sheet. And then, yeah, entity sprite sheet, tile map sprite sheet, tile map sprite sheet. Tile map, sprite sheet, entity sprite sheet. That's interesting. I'm not. What's going on? Have you missed something? That's weird. Why not? Entity view, that's the constructor there, animations. Tile map sprite sheet. Entity view. What mistake have I made? Hang on, something. Because... Oh, no, wait, this doesn't need... Oh, wait a minute. This was accepting the sprite sheet but not doing anything with it. I think. It was never a local... Yeah, okay, that's kind of weird. So yeah, it was accepting a reference into the constructor, but the constructor wasn't actually ever doing anything with it. Entity sprite sheet. I'll get rid of that. Entity sprite sheet and entity view. Let's just have a look at these two next to each other. Entity view. So we've got animations and a reference. Two references, one to animations and one to sprite sheet. That's just sprite sheet. Oh, let's call it entity sprite sheet so we don't get confused. Yeah, okay, so it's happy with me now. And then, so this, and then, oh, whoops. But there's no way. This isn't actually picking up on some of the errors here. I also would have expected a warning there saying, hey, you're passing in something and you're never using it, which is kind of weird. Because if I make that now, I should still get an error. Close that. Yeah, so this should be so this should be complaining at me and saying, hey, there's no tile map here. Now entity sprite sheet. So again, if these are drawing entities and it's going off the tile map sprite sheet, that's kind of weird as well. Yeah, this is what the... And ignore the player entity here. Yeah, this is kind of weird how this was set up initially. I think that's kind of why we got into this state where we sort of bastardized between two different views, but really it doesn't make any sense to have, it might not even make any sense to have two different sprite sheets. Okay, so let's add a... Alright, so no. And I would expect this not to be getting hit. Sorry, I would expecting this not to get hit. Which it isn't, which suggests to me that we've got a problem. I think we'll have the same problem in the reduce. I think I know what the problem is here. Add tile, add entity, get state. We don't want this. All right. Because the two methods were orthogonal. So let's try this now. Yep, and then we'll launch. See how this goes. Let's try again. Okay. That is a memory issue, definitely. So entity update here, entity 34 it seemed to be complaining about. Is it possible? Oh, excuse me. Okay, so these entities won't have animations. We may need a guard condition too. Actually, that didn't drop out. Huh. That didn't drop out on me, and that just... It's kind of annoying. I think it's because I don't... There's no animations here, maybe. Add entity. Yeah, let's just... if current, what happens? Past the end iterator. I think we're doing that here. So this will be, whoops. So I think current animations. Don't try and do anything beyond that point. I think that's the best way to do it. So we don't find anything, give up. There shouldn't be anything else to do at that point. Okay, so no. Looks like I haven't quite understood. Maybe I'm not understanding the error. Did I build? No, I did. Okay. Oh, I need to get that arrow back now. Oh, it's not this one. All right, let's have a look. Still saying entity update 134. Oh, is it possible that get entity? Oh, what would get entity state be returning? Idle, I suppose. Yeah, it would be returning idle. So, okay, so this obviously hasn't helped. It's not that. I thought it would be because the animation that it would be getting is... What's the error actually complaining about? Something's been... Heap use after free. Heap use after free, so that... Whoops. Run, start debugging. Heap use after free. Okay, so let's put that on. Alright, so let's get this ready. This isn't gonna... Entity update, line 34. House scene. Oh, wait a minute, house scene. So if there's no animation, okay, so that should still be required because there's like we have entities without animation. Or more so what am I doing? If size equals 0, like we don't have any. There's nothing more to do here. Return. Like don't even try and find it. This is probably going to be different. There's probably going to be something more fundamental in an entity like, hey, you'll always be static, maybe. Yeah. Because it'll always, yeah, so, yeah, probably won't end up like this, but that's okay. Alright. Don't know how this wasn't a problem. Okay, so this is definitely happening somewhere. Alright, so 38. Something is becoming Okay, house scene 183. Alright. House scene 183. What's happening here? 183. Player animations. Is that? Scene view. Entity map, okay. This is all done. Alright, this is pretty final. For now. Well. Yeah. So we probably don't want 150 lines of, well, maybe we'll go. Well. Okay, these animations though, this is... Oh, is it because this comes out of scope here? So we have the player animations here that we try and update. Entity update. Do we ever get to this point? Huh. Maybe... Don't quite get what's happening here, like... Probably gonna study the error a little bit more. Try and figure out exactly where it's coming from. No, we're not even getting to that point. Entity update line 38, that's this. Heap use after free. So how scene runs, executes on line 165, which is to update the entity. It comes into the entity, it determines that it has animations of a size greater than 0, and then it tries to find an animation based on get entity state. What if we did something crazy? Is it the get entity state method? What if it's just like always idle? Like, are we having trouble getting the entity state? Couldn't see why. Because that's always, that doesn't make sense, because that will always be set. Yeah. So it's not the entity state that's the problem. Something about that, something about another entity. It's hard to debug too because I don't know. So what's the animations.size value at this point? Actually, as well as that, can we go like entity type? Type? Have we got a type here? Type, yeah. Why can't I stood out? See out enum. Ew. That's pretty gross. Do you need help? Ooh. Holy moly. Oh, C, wait, C++, what are you saying? Alright, regardless, it should maybe give us a bit of an insight into actually what's happening here. Make, and then launch. Okay. So, Alright, so... Okay, so the so animations is totally foobar in here. Okay, it's set to something totally rubbish. Right, so that certainly explains. All right, so what I think is happening is this is getting set there, and then this is going out of scope, and then this is left. Yeah, because this is because it's just a reference to that. Yeah, okay, so that's why. Yeah. All right, that's. All right, I know what's going on. We're creating this here. We're passing it in as a reference. It's leaving scope. This is getting removed from the stack. And then the reference is left angling, which doesn't make any sense. All right, so then, yeah, okay, so this will never work. So we need to work out a better way of handling this. Maybe I need a constructor that doesn't have. Can I do this? But even still, it's still only holding a reference. It needs to be like an optional reference type or something. Guys, I'm probably going to have to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. If you made it this far, and we will be back to do more debugging later.